Oh, wait. This is checking all of the comfort food boxes. Do you ever find yourself craving rich, creamy comfort foods, but you still want to stay on top of your health goals? Well, what if I told you that you don't have to choose between indulgence and health? Let's face it, comfort foods are irresistible, especially during those cold or those winter months where you're just craving something that's really warm and satisfying. But whether you're trying to lose weight or eat healthier, or maybe even just save some money from ordering takeout, it can really be hard when those cravings take a hold of you. If any of that resonates with you, then today's recipe is for you. Today I'm sharing a healthier, plant-based twist on one of my favorite comfort foods, butter chicken. But instead, we're gonna be swapping out that chicken for tofu. But don't worry, this butter tofu is so rich and creamy, you won't even miss the chicken. You can also find this and other delicious budget-friendly meals in my Eat Cheap, Live Good meal plan guide. I placed a link in the description so you can check it out. So this is what you're gonna need: tofu, coconut milk, some strained tomatoes or crushed tomatoes, and then a variety of some delicious spices like curry powder, garam masala, as well as chili powder, onions, ginger, garlic. You'll also need 1 cup of frozen peas. And of course, chickpeas. These are gonna really amp up the amount of protein that we're gonna have in this dish. First things first, you have a couple of options with this recipe. You can either cook it in a slow cooker for that deep, slow simmered flavor, or you can cook it on the stovetop if you're short on time. And that's how I'm gonna be making it today. So here's what makes this recipe a winner. Instead of using heavy cream, which is what we use traditionally in a butter chicken recipe, we're using coconut milk, which is a really great source of healthy fats, but it's also gonna make this butter tofu taste nice and rich and creamy and just luxurious. Healthy fats like coconut milk are really important for helping you to manage cravings and helping you to stay fuller for a longer period of time. We're also using tofu, which is a delicious plant-based source of protein. So as I mentioned before, we're gonna be using tofu for this recipe. So I've picked firm tofu here, and tofu is an amazing source of plant-based protein. It's high in protein, low in calories, and it really takes on the delicious spices in this dish like a dream. Tofu is such a great canvas that soaks up a lot of flavor. So what I like to do actually is I like to tear it, because I find that when you tear tofu, it actually gives you a bit of a better flavor than cutting it into cubes. And it also just looks a little bit better personally when you tear it versus cutting into cubes. The rough edges of the tofu, they actually hold sauces and dressings a lot better. Also, if you're air frying or baking tofu, tearing your tofu is a must, because that's what helps you to get those nice crispy edges. Now, if tofu isn't your thing, I totally get it. You could just omit the tofu altogether and still just have the chickpeas, and you're still gonna get a lot of great plant-based protein in this dish. But fun fact, chickpeas were actually one of my secret weapons behind my 30-pound weight loss, because they're loaded with both protein and fiber, which helps to curb those cravings and keep you full. Another thing to note is that I actually pressed the tofu before using it. So what I did was I just took the tofu out of the package, I drained all of the water, I wrapped a paper towel around it, and then I just sat something really heavy on the top. I used my cast iron pan, but you could use something like maybe some cookbooks or maybe even some canned beans or whatever type of cans you have lying around in your kitchen. But pressing out the water is really essential, because again, that's really gonna leave a lot of room for all of that flavor to soak in. And so I've already added some coconut oil to the pot, and next thing we're gonna add is those onions. I'm also gonna add in the garlic, and I'm gonna let that simmer for just a couple of minutes, and then next I'll pop in the spices. Making healthier versions of my favorite foods was one of the biggest game changers in my weight loss journey. I discovered that I didn't have to give up the foods I loved. I just needed to tweak them just a little bit. So dishes like this butter tofu became my go-to because they're simple, delicious, and packed with lots of nutrients. And here's the thing, when you learn how to make these healthy food swaps, it's not just about the food. You're also shifting your mindset and realizing that you don't have to deprive yourself to see the results that you want to realize with your health. All right, so next I'm gonna pop in those spices. I'm using some garam masala, some chili powder, and some curry powder. We want to stir everything together for another minute or two so that everything is nice and fragrant and those onions get nice and translucent. Next, I'm going to pop in that ginger. I usually leave the ginger till last because I don't want it to burn. So again, we're just gonna stir this around, maybe just for like a few seconds. I would say maybe about 30 seconds, just to allow the spices as well as that ginger just to toast up a little bit. Now you might notice the pan getting a little bit dry, but that's okay because we're just about to add in that delicious creamy coconut milk. All right, so next we're gonna add in the coconut milk and tomato sauce. And I'm probably gonna turn down the heat just a little bit here. So I'm gonna mix this all around just so that everything comes together nicely with our sauce. And look how beautiful this color is. I really just want to take the spoon out of this pot and just eat it, just like this. But not before we add our star ingredient, which is that tofu. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in next. Next, I'm gonna add in those chickpeas. Okay, so now what we wanna do is we wanna bring this to a boil. This is gonna help the sauce to thicken up just a little bit. So after it comes to a boil, you wanna reduce the heat and cook for about 10 minutes. At the 10-minute mark, we're just gonna pop in those frozen peas and cook for an additional 10 minutes. So while the dish simmers, I just wanted to chat with you just for a moment about healthy food swaps, which was a game changer for me in helping me to lose 30 pounds without feeling like I was depriving myself of my favorite foods. It wasn't just about swapping ingredients. It was about swapping the narrative. It was about changing my perception about what healthy food could look and taste like. It was about transforming food from a source of guilt to a source of empowerment, and about the confidence that I found in myself once I started nourishing my body. This is how I was able to take my health to the next level, and I want the same for you too. And it completely changed everything for me. If you want to take your health to the next level too without depriving yourself of the foods that you love, I want to invite you to join my 5-day Swap It, Don't Stop It challenge. This challenge is all about making healthy eating fun and also making it sustainable, so you're not just losing weight and gaining it back. You're actually learning how to eat healthy in a way that you can keep up for life. You're going to learn how to choose tasty alternatives to your favorite foods without feeling deprived. You'll also learn why your cravings happen and how to take control of them for good. Imagine eating what you want when you want and feeling confident in your food choices instead of feeling guilty because you know you keep turning to foods that aren't serving your health and wellness goals. Tap the link in the description to join the challenge today and start your journey to healthier eating. This butter tofu isn't just a healthy twist on a classic, it's proof that eating well can be absolutely delicious. I cannot wait to dig into this. The creamy coconut milk, the bold spices, and the hearty tofu, it really does come together to create a dish that is so satisfying, you won't believe that this is actually good for you. Now you can serve this however you like. I like serving it with a little bit of brown rice as well as some naan. And of course, I like topping it off with just a little bit of some fresh cilantro. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that on top. And there you have it. This is melt in your mouth deliciousness right here. This is definitely comfort in a dish. All right, it's time for my favorite part, the taste test. Oh, wait. This is checking all of the comfort food boxes. Now, if you love this recipe, make sure to check out my next video where I'll show you your new favorite recipe.